Hi, it's Mai here with my Friday reads. If you saw my December TBR, you know that I have a pretty big stack of books that I want to finish during December. So I've set myself a goal of reading 70 pages a day, which would allow me to finish all the books that I want. And so far I'm doing really well with that. I have finished 2 books in the month of December so far. I finished Ghost Talkers by Mary Robinette Kowal, which is a fantasy story about mediums set in World War One, and I really enjoyed it, even though I did guess a major plot point pretty early on. It was still a fun read. The second book that I finished was The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, which I loved as much as I did the first book, the 5th season. I really do enjoy following the main character. The world is really unique, and the book tackles these big topics of human rights and discrimination. It has a lot of great scenes and quotes that really strike home for me, and it is quite emotional to read at points, while also being a really great epic fantasy story. Like, the scale is really epic in this one. So just yesterday I started another book from my December TBR, and this Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. I read the first 70 pages of this, and this is based on the podcast of the same name. I have this borrowed from my sister, and I also have the audiobook. So whenever there is a chapter that is the broadcast of the community radio station, I listen to it on the audiobook instead, since the audiobook is read by the podcast narrator, who is also the reporter of the community radio station. So it sort of ties the podcast and the book together even more for me. I really do enjoy listening to Cecil's voice. And the universe, the city of Night Vale, is really creepy and funny and absurd and mysterious, and so far the book is all of this. There are characters from the podcast here, and I enjoy knowing the backstory of these, even though they say that you can read this without listening to the podcast, but I do enjoy knowing more about the characters and what is said here. The plot is just getting started, so I don't really know much about this yet, but so far it's really enjoyable and, like I said, creepy and mysterious, but also funny. Another book that I really want to pick up next and start reading during the weekend is Shadow Shaper by Daniel Jose Olro. This is a young adult urban fantasy book, and it's quite short, and I'm going to read this and Night Vale at the same time. So those are my 2 next books that I'm reading. I am also doing the Yearathon Comics Reading Week, which is this week, and so far I've finished volumes 1 to 3 of Gem by Kelly Thompson and Sophie Campbell, and that is just gorgeous. The art is so good, and the story is pretty feel good as well. And the next comic straight that I'm hoping to read for that during this week is Gotham Academy Volume 3 Yearbook. So that's what I read this week and what I'm planning to read during the weekend and on to the next week. What are you currently reading? Anything good? I'm pretty excited because on Wednesday, at least in Finland, Rogue One opens in movie theaters, so I'm going to see that, and I hope I really like it. I hope it's really good. It's Star Wars, so at least I'm going to see X-Wings in space, right? It's hard to get wrong. I hope you're having a really great weekend, and I will see you all later in my next video.